Fucking hell. I can't believe that. I haven't thought about this in so many years, so you bringing that up is so fucking weird. But I get the sword, and I pressed it on, because I think it's a fake, it's not going to do anything. So I actually pressed it onto his skin, and I went like that. Split him open ear to fucking ear. Why is it that on these recordings we've never ever talked about wrestling training since we both did it?
Well, we did kind of. When we went into the last thing and we did the quick-fire questions.
Yeah.
And we talked about your history and stuff.
Yeah, but that was more about me heading towards the commentary, wasn't it?
Yeah, but I don't know.
How long after we stopped doing UBW did you start doing wrestling training? Because I'm genuinely curious, because I can't remember. Was it still when you were at university?
I started during uni, yeah. So when we were in UEW, I was training.
Oh, were you really? I didn't know that bit. So you trained with Sticks at the House of Pain, correct?
But I had done some training before that.
Oh, really?
Before UEW, yeah. That was in... Where was it? Making me think now, it was like 14 years ago. Yeah, I don't remember. I'd only done a couple sessions. Nothing big.
I think it was one of the requirements for UBW was that you had to have had at least a training session, so you
must know how to take a bump.
Yeah, you must be able to bump, and just the basics.
Yeah.
Where was House of Pain? Was it Nottingham?
Nottingham, yeah.
So you just get the train there from Leicester?
Yeah, from Leicester, because it only took 20 minutes.
Oh, amazing. And
easy.
What is it? Right, so 2 questions. I've got loads of questions for you. We've never really talked about this on a video, so I'm just.
Are you actually doing this for the episode?
Curious, possibly. Bonus footage, if nothing else. Right. So, the first question I was going to ask you is there anyone who's on the scene now that you trained with? Did anyone from your class, your group of people you were training? Bye, Alfie. Did anyone you were training with go on to make it?
Honestly, don't know. I haven't kept up with it.
Ah, fair enough.
Honestly, that's the truth. I don't watch BritWres anymore. I don't follow it. It was around the time that you and me sort of discovered the Speak Up thing.
Speaking
out.
And
I sort of, Speaking Out. And I just kind of left it there because it was just like names of people who I knew were thrown around there, and it was just like, I don't want to...
Fair enough. But what made you... All right, and so the other question I was going to be, was what made you stop going?
Distance.
How long... So, okay. So,
I finished uni, moved back from Leicester, and it was just... I went a couple times from St Neots to Leicester, but to Nottingham, but that in itself is like 30 quid at the time. So, it just... I couldn't keep that up. Not once a week, I couldn't do that.
But you could, but you just didn't want it enough.
It was £30 for the train, or whatever it was, and then it was the £10 for the training session.
Yep.
Then it was like, so the £40 a week, just I couldn't afford it at that time, so I just stopped.
I think it's the thing that separates people who really want it and people who say they want it, isn't it? If you really want it, you'll find a way to keep doing it.
Because I ran out of money after uni, because I was out of work when I finished uni, so I didn't have the funds to do it. And the effort that it took for you and me to hang out back in the day, because of how expensive it was and the distance. Now it's easy. Now it's, an hour or whatever in the car. But back then, over 10 years or whatever it is ago, it was just like, you're out of uni and you need a job and you need money. And it took a long time before I found something stable. So
you couldn't commit to it, and then by that point...
Just could not commit to it.
Yeah.
It was great whilst I was at uni and whilst it was, there, because I didn't actually have classes on Tuesdays, so I had my Tuesdays were off anyway.
Amazing.
So it was perfect. And then, it just, money and distance.
So I did training while UBW was happening. At I never remember what the fucking company was called. It was a place in Stoke, though. And it was, I had various training sessions there, but I just didn't like the way they trained. It was very odd.
I remember you sent me a video or something of you after you'd done a session, and you were talking about running the ropes.
That's the story I was going to tell. So on a previous one of these we've done, we talked about the addiction 3-way that we had at UBW. It was me and Dan and Dave, and all 3 of us were injured because you torn your bicep at wrestling, weightlifting. I'd broken Dave with the back-breaking backdrop of death. But then, so I've been watching wrestling as long as I can remember. And when the instructor said, the rest of the class went to McDonald's for lunch, okay? And because I was poor, I was like, there's not a fucking chance I can afford some McDonald's. So, so I stuck right, and one of the trainers, stuck around and said, "Is there anything you want to learn while they're gone?" I was like, as much as all I could learn a 450 or something like that. I was like, look, just something simple. Like, can you teach me to run the ropes? And tells me put your left arm onto the rope as you lean back, and I'm just like, that's odd. It's always been with the right. I was like,
everything is done on the left.
Exactly. So I'm watching wrestling all my life, and I've seen every time someone's been Irish whipped into the ropes, they've grabbed the rope right with the right hand and leaned back, come swinging out. And I was just like, but he's the instructor, so he knows best. So we're running that. It just feels weird, really wrong. And then we're talking about getting your feet right. And he, out of nowhere, doesn't tell me, and just turns around and clotheslines me as hard as he can, like full lariat style. And I wasn't expecting it, and I came down on because I hadn't really got bumping in my head properly. I came down, all my body weight came down on my left elbow, and I ripped all the ligaments in the back of my elbow here. And I still have fucking shit with that to this day, and that's why I was injured at the 3-way match. Addiction. After that I stopped and I didn't wrestle again, didn't do training again for 4 years. When I was getting close with the guys at Future Shock, and Dave Rain, who Dan, who ran Future Shock at the time, would ask me quite often, when are you going to start coming to training? And it was always I'm not. So but if you want to work for Future Shock, which I did as a commentator, it was one of my big dreams. Is if you want to work, you've got to come to the school. And it's like. So I've had the sort of seal of approval that he knows I'm a good enough commentator to work for Future Shock. He's heard my work. I've worked with him at GPW and things like that. Knows I'm good enough, but there's a rule, which is you have to come to the school. And I was like, it was one of those. I don't think I want to. I don't think I'm old enough. I was 33 at this time, and I was 32. And Dave's like, I was like, I'm too old. And Dave Rain just gave me the DDP was 34. Get in the fucking ring, and it's one of those fucking Fuck, I don't know any choice. So I trained at Future Shock for 6 months, and I gotta say, it's one of those things. What were the warm-ups like with sticks? Let's talk about that from the start.
I'll just say that I find it hilarious how a backyarder gets to learn anything and he chooses to run the ropes.
I know, right? Anything at all. I'm looking back at that now, like, what the fuck is wrong with you, dude?
You don't have ropes in backyard. There was a spot we did where you I think it was you, and you whipped me, and I was like, I just kept running because there's no ropes. So you just think to yourself, well,
it was always one of those weird ones where in EBW, some people would do the motion and come back.
Yeah.
Some people, like yourself, it's fucked off. And then, it's match. Yeah, it's our one last dance match, and I turned to the camera. Oh shit, no ropes. Carry on.
That's it.
Yeah, how the warm-ups?
Okay, they were. So he used to do, from memory, he used to do things where we'd stand in a circle, depending on how many there were, and you'd do things like stop, jog on the spot, stop, do a press up, stop, do a front roll into the middle, and then keep going, stuff like that. But basic cardio with doing something at the same time. So or you do a big jump, stop, keep running, stop, roll, stop, flip, whatever. Yeah, like that.
The reason I wanted to ask you this is one of the things that I would say to any aspiring wrestler: if you're thinking of giving training a try, get your fucking cardio in shape. You've got to be in shape. And I was lucky because at that point in my life, because I turned into a proper gym fiend at the start of 2015, and I regularly used to do an hour on the cross trainer, for example, just for the fun of it. So I would go and do these warm-ups thinking, I can hang out here. I can do this. Dave Rain especially would do a thing where you go around the group and like you say, in a circle like you were, sorry, and it so points to me, Mark, do 10 squats. And what we do is the group does the squats in time with me. So as I go down, the whole group goes down, which of course gives you. I don't mind squats at all nowadays. Don't bother. The amount of times that Dan would tell me when we were doing UBW especially, you need to get your squats in, mate. It's like, I fucking ain't doing no squats. I ain't doing no squats. Fuck squats. But by this point, I could do squats, and the reason I'm telling you this bit is because think about the opportunity that gives you. You can be such a cunt to the rest of the fucking group. I'm going to do my squat real slow. And anyone who's done a pause squat, for example, knows that lactic acid starts building up in those thighs, and you're like, I hate you, Pearson. I hate you so much.
You remember I used to do it with the ball, so the weight ball.
Yes.
I do squat with the weight ball. Yeah.
So I used to find the warm up really quite easy. And I think most of the drills I was all right at. My problem was always is that I used to get ridiculous stage fright. So when it came with learning something one-on-one with someone, absolutely fine with it. But came to demonstrate it in front of the group, I would just freeze up, and I would freeze up again and again and again. And it took so much mental strength to go out and do just the simple things, just doing a snapmare or just learning to run the ropes again. We did a drill where you're bouncing off one rope and you're diving through the middle rope. Couldn't do it to save my life. If my life depended on it, I could not get it right, and I would do it again and again and again and again and again. And every time having to, because you do it that one time, you go to the back of the line. So watching it getting closer and closer and closer and closer, going shit, until it came to my turn. It's like, come on, do it, fucking it up. And I used to get so fucking frustrated at it. And it's one of those things. I always used to be like, pardon.
Sticks was great in that. Is if you didn't get something, there was times when he'd ask us to do something, and if I didn't get it, I could go to him and I'd say, "Look, I'm just not getting this. Can you?" And he would, he'd take it until I got it right. He was really good in that, and he was understanding, and it was very nice to have a trainer who had that approach. It wasn't a case of if the whole group gets it right and you get it wrong, that's your problem. It was like if you can't get it, he would help you and he would encourage you to get it right. It helps to have a good trainer like that.
Yeah.
I don't have bad words to say about him. He was always good to me.
No. He used to badmouth the shit out of you to me, but that's a different story altogether. That's a true story, folks. I used to go to a lot of wrestling shows that Sticks was on, and every time we talked, to say, when's that idiot Dan coming back to my fucking school? Every time. This was for 2 or 3 years. He did this, and then every so often we'd go to a fucking Southside show together, Dan and I would, and he'd come over and give Dan shit for not going to the fucking school. It was fucking brilliant. It was absolutely fucking gold.
He used to say, "I'll see you Tuesday," and I'd be like, "Yeah, all right," and I'd go for Tuesday, and then I wouldn't be able to afford it again, so he wouldn't see me for another 3 weeks or whatever. But I used to, I miss. Even now, I miss it. I still miss it, and I could have done more to make it happen, but it was just it wasn't in the cards for me at that time. It just wasn't. What was
your favourite thing that you did in training, like move or sequence or something like
that? I used to like learning international sequences and learning how they go. So the whip, and then you duck, and then you do move, roll over, whatever. Arm drag or hip toss, anything like that. I love putting those together, and then you go to the corner and you work out. Sticks taught me one thing that I never forgot, and to this day I still apply it when I watch wrestling, is think of the ring like a Union Jack.
Okay, yeah.
Think about where all the lines are, basically. And he's like, you can follow along all the lines. You go to the corner, you come back, you go to the rope, come back, and you can make anything work as long as you're doing it in the right rotation. And I watch it now, and it bugs me because I know that that's the right way. So every time you look at a wrestling ring and you look at the mat, I think Union Jack, and I watch how people go on it.
I've never heard of it like that. What's my favourite bit? Oh man. I can't remember the guy's name now, because I trained with. The reason I actually was there anyone who went on to make it in the business, as it were, is that in the class that I trained with, half of which were people who were already on the Future Shock roster. which of course meant that I had to go from being. I also used to train on a Tuesday night, so I would, for example, quite a few times go to a Future Shock show on a Sunday evening and boo the shit out of someone and give them all sorts of shit. Because when I was at a show, I was a full-on mark, as I've told people before. And then, Tuesday night, being nice to them, and it was always like one of those, this is surreal. There's a wrestler whose name, I can picture him, but I can't remember his name. But, he superplexed me off the top rope onto a fucking crash mat, and that was fucking incredible.
Something to give me a power slam once. That was fun. Is you always, I want to know what that feels like, and then when it happens, and it's like, all right, that's cool.
There was another time, I think I remember one. I was a good couple of stone lighter than I am nowadays, but I do remember just doing crossbody training. So one of you catches the other. That was an experience, because I remember the first time I've ever dived off the fucking top rope, because I was never known as a high flyer in fucking EBW with me, a fucking elbow drop that always misses, and that's about it actually. Now I think about it, thinking. I'm
trying to think if you actually did any successful ones. I know I took one from you in our first match. I think
in our first match, yeah. God, it became a running thing, didn't it? On commentary, I would say this misses more than it hits.
Yeah.
Because it missed every time. There's a little thing. So, I'll come back to what I was talking about, if I remember. Remember Bounce for Glory, the match that Dave and I had on the Bouncy Castle? We had a spot planned until the day of the show, where, if you remember where I lived at the time, I had a 3-tiered garden. And we set the bounce castle up on the second tier, and we used the top tier as a little entranceway. And up until the day of the show, we were doing a spot where we did the entrance ramp, where we set up the ladder there, and we set up 2 tables on the lower level, and I was going to come off the table and through the 2 tables. And I remember we set the bounce castle up on the day, and then I went and put the ladder where I wanted it to be, when we would sort of, where's the best place for it to go, and then I climbed up to where I thought would be comfortable on top of the ladder, and went, abso-fucking-lutely not a fucking chance am I diving off this ladder, not a fucking chance. So we changed it so it's just all on the same level. So the first time I ever did a fucking crossbody, and the guy caught me, it was one of those, holy shit, you must be a fucking ox. Because it was effortless for him. He just looked like, caught me, like it's nothing. And it was just one of those. I could only do it with people who were considerably lighter than me.
You were a bit nervous about letting me FU you.
Of course, with good reason, of course.
Yeah. That was fine. But I remember when Swinney jumped off because we were trying to come up with a finish, which was pretty much the only spot we had planned in that thing. With a match with Swin, and I said, okay, go for a crossbody, I'll catch you, and then we'll do the FU. And he was like, you sure you catch me? I remember, I remember he jumped, and I caught him, and I sort of went one way, and then I realised where I had to switch it around. But if you can catch it, it looks great, because you can do so much with them there, go up, go round, go this way. You can do so many moves from it. It's just a nice segue into a finish.
Can I just say here, if anyone's wondering, that wasn't a knock on Dan when I said for good reason. When we did when we did CRCW, which was my first ever, my first in my indoor backyard fed, we thought we were the most innovative wrestlers on the planet, because we do backyard wrestling inside. Oh yeah,
and used a samurai sword.
I did use a samurai sword. Fucking hell, well remembered, dude. Fucking hell, that's a blast from the past. I got FU'd and I landed right on the back of my head. So essentially, I got Death by Driver instead of FU, because it was my fault. When Alex got me up on his shoulders, I toppled forwards because I couldn't get my balance properly, and came down right on the back of my head. So I was a little bit wary about taking the old FU after that.
The reason I remember thankfully when that was going on, I was still lifting at that point, so I had quite good upper body strength, so it was fine, and I felt confident enough that I'd be able to do it safely. But the thing with this, remembering the samurai sword, is I remember before we had our I Quit match, I asked you, I said, "What's the most painful spot that you've had?" and you said, "Oh, I accidentally got cut with the samurai sword," and I was thinking, okay. And I went to Dave, Extreme Dave, and I said, "I can beat that." So I said, "I can beat that." I don't know if I did, but
so the samurai sword was
I think the guitar was the one I tried.
The samurai sword was it was just my ex-girlfriend Lisa, right, her brother Alex. It was his. It's a fake. It was a complete fake, and the whole idea is that and Alex suggested it that if I pretend to slice him open, and he'll put some fake blood on, and we'll have some colour. And fucking hell, I can't believe it. I haven't thought about this in so many years. So you bringing that up is so fucking weird. But I get the sword and I pressed it on because I think it's a fake. It's not going to do anything. So I actually pressed it onto his skin and I went like that. Split him open ear to fucking ear.
Oh, I thought it happened to you.
No, it didn't happen to me. It happened to Alex.
Oh, okay.
He was pissing blood for real. It was fucking brilliant. It was fucking fantastic. And he wasn't, because he was really yelling out in pain. But of course, I'm sat cutting him, but I'm thinking that I'm just pretending to cut him and thinking, fucking hell, Alex, that's a really good fucking cell job you're doing there, mate. That's absolutely spot on. I'm actually thinking you're actually in pain there, boss. I haven't thought about that in a decade, easily.
It brings me to a question: are there really spots that you've done where you've been nervous about doing them beforehand, but when you've been planning it, you're thinking, yeah, this is going to look really good, and then it's come to actually doing them, and you've gone, shit. I've got a couple with you.
The first one that comes to my mind is when we did UBW Salvation. We did the 4-way match. And there's a section of the match where we needed me to be eliminated for a bit so that the match could happen without me. And we decided that the Wild Stallions, which is Johnny Magnum and Extreme Dave, were going to do a double chokeslam on me through a table.
They were never a tag team.
That's not true, and you know it. Don't say things like that, man. You'll let the people down. So in my head, I knew that the spot was going to be brilliant. But the night before, I couldn't sleep. Not because I was so excited about the taping or anything like that. I couldn't sleep because I was so nervous about when I went through the table, one of the metal bits going up into my back, which is a fucking ludicrous thing because they're fucking wafer thin, so it wouldn't make any. There's not a chance it'd break the skin. But
who would have thought that at the end of that match, the only thing you'd be worried about was that you actually got put into cat shit?
I hate you so much. You're such a wanker. Yeah, but yes, I did. Yeah. I did get my face rubbed into cat shit.
Yeah, well, I lost a pound in our I Quit match. So,
so that's the first one that comes to my mind.
Yeah.
It's funny. Can I just say this as well? It's funny. Just going back to the wrestling training thing for a second, which I do want to come back to anyway, because we need to talk about why we don't do it anymore. But I do find it funny that wrestling training and doing drills in the ring, right? So. I was saying before, I would get stage fright. I don't know if you ever had to do it. Just a standard forward roll.
Yeah.
I got taught follow your thumb, so you're just doing. That's why I'm doing that. Just follow your thumb. So we had to do a drill where there was 4 of you in the ring, and you did forward roll diagonally around the ring. I just again and again and again and again and again and again. Just do it until you're going to be sick, basically. Fucking hell, I was shit at that. Right, and not only was I bad at it, I knew I was bad at it, which made me get really anxious about performing it in front of other people. And I was just thinking, like, as I was talking then, that I never felt that at UBW ever. I never, ever, ever had a problem going out and performing. It just didn't bother me. It was just one of those things.
Because you didn't do any forward rolls in UBW.
Well, no, but at the same time, I was still performing in front of an audience, wasn't I?
Yeah,
come on,
yeah.
You know what I mean. It's just I just find it interesting that I used to get such bad stage fright, but as soon as I was champagne, it was one of those ding rap stage time. It's fucking go time. Put on the performance that you're here to do. Was it so? Do you reckon? I'm wondering is that because I was in character at the time, or is it just that I got such a kick out? I mean, as soon as you take a fucking bump, that adrenaline takes over, and like, right, come on.
Yeah, the people there were obviously the majority of the audience were the performers themselves, right? So, when you're not on camera, you're not in character. and obviously vice versa when you are in, or you kind of go into a zone, and it's the same. It's like I was in a band and I used to play live, and I don't know if you get with DJing, it's like, you can get that little bit of nervousness before you go out there, and then when you go out there, it's just like, no, you know what, I'm gonna and you just get into the mood for it. It's all about being in that character and having that mindset that you are in control. But you wouldn't go to training as Champagne.
No, of course I wouldn't. No.
But you'd be doing training and you'd think, you know what, Champagne, I could use that, I could do that, and then you'd go to UW or whatever, and there it is. It's
interesting. I've never thought of that before. Very interesting. So so you stopped because of money, correct?
Yeah. Not to dive too deep into my own problems or anything, but when I got out of uni, I had a bit of a issue, and that was basically what took over. And then I didn't work for a while. Then I decided to start the photography business thing, which basically took all my money. Which was kind of cool. It lasted for quite a while, and that was fine. It was what I wanted to do with my life at that point. And then it wasn't stable enough, and I was broke for a while. But that was tough times. But I had to sort of put the training to one side. I didn't stop because I wanted to. If that makes sense. It was just money and other things that took over. What about you?
So I was writing a little blog for Across the Pond Wrestling. So I was able to sort of tell people about how I was feeling week on, week out, which I was really enjoying. I was having a good time. So as much as I was like saying before, the anxiety thing, I got over them. I was able to learn wrestling moves. I was able to start putting some sequences together. I was able to, kind of know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And then so it's going all well. One of the things that David said, Dave Rain, that is, one of the things that David said was make sure you invest in some knee pads. And I didn't think I would need them at the time. So it's like one of those. So I used to wear one brace on one of my knees because I used to be so much bigger. My knees aren't very good these days because I used to carry so much weight. So I carried one knee pad. And I don't know what the move is called. I've always called it a sleeper drop. But basically, it's where you talked about the international before. So there's the bit in the international where you drop down onto your stomach, and the person who's on the offense jumps over you and bounces off the ropes, and you do the leapfrog bit. So we were doing literally just the bit where you drop down onto your stomach, and we were doing drills of 10 at a time. And we probably did 50 of them, literally just over and over again. So you're just dropping down. Guy bounces off the ropes, you stand up and you drop down, guy bounces off the ropes, just again and again and again and again, just tons of it until you just can't take it anymore. And literally on my last one that I was due to do that day, I went down and instantly I had this massive bang, essentially, to the point where lots of people turned around, what the fuck was that? Sort of thing. And it was my MCL snapping was the bang.
Was that the leg that I hit with the guitar?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yeah. So
I did feel bad after that.
Well, given back to UBW again. Given the choice, right, between the footage will be for you on the screen right now. Look, it looks like you're going to hit me in the bollocks, but you hit me in the knee, which I'd rather have than you hit me in the bollocks with the guitar. So
I put a cheese grater on there as well, didn't I?
Pardon? So a cheese grater on my bollocks, yeah, which would have been great for cushioning the blow, I'm sure.
It's just some things that you could in character,
Yeah, of course. Yeah, Danny Ace is an absolute arsehole in character.
Yes.
In real life, he's such a lovely boy. So, because I was doing wrestling training, I was all adrenalined up. I was all loving life. So I managed to do the rest of the session, believe it or not, with a torn MCL. And, of course, I didn't know I had a torn MCL at the time. I just felt my knee felt very, very hot. But it was getting stiffer and stiffer and stiffer. But I was like I said, I was so adrenalined up, and we were doing some good shit that day. We were doing, after we did that, we were doing the leapfrog bit, and that was fun as well, because that was the same thing. That was a guy bouncing off the ropes, coming back, You leapfrog over him, he bounces off the ropes, comes back, you leapfrog over him, just doing it again and again and again and again. Now think about that when I've done the damage I've done to my fucking leg. Think how much fucking adrenaline must have been going through me at the time that I wasn't really thinking about it. I used to train in Manchester, which was an hour and a half drive away from where I lived in Stoke-on-Trent. So I drove home that evening and I couldn't get out of the car. So the adrenaline wore off and the pain started getting, like, this is really starting to fucking hurt. Fortunately, because it was all motorway. Literally, where the training school was, you went out, turned left out of the car park, came to a roundabout, that was motorway, and then the way that it worked from the M60 to the 42 to the 6 or whatever it is, there was all slip roads. So once I got the car up to speed, I didn't have to slow down or use I didn't have to change gears or anything. If you think about it, so it means I didn't have to use the clutch. So, yeah, the pain's getting there, but it's not that bad. So it's only when it comes to actually get out of the car an hour and a half later that I was like, oh. So,
yeah.
if you remember, I lived 13 floors up, so thank fuck the lift was working that night. Would have been very fucked.
I remember it right at the top. Yeah.
Wake up the next morning and I can't get out of bed. My leg is absolutely massive. My knee is huge. And so, what were you going to say, man?
Just a quick question for you. Did you find that before and after doing training, your appreciation for the work ethic of the business changed?
Fucking hell yeah. Of course it did.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's So, right, let me finish my bit first, and then I'm going to... Because that's such a good question. That's a really good question. So what I did is I had 2 weeks off. I went to the hospital, did a scan on my knee, got a torn MCL. Brilliant. How long should I rest it for? As long as possible, a couple of months. Probably 6 months, and it's one of those, okay, fair enough. I stayed at the gym for 2 weeks. And then because I was so determined to get back to training to show how fucking tough I was, and in doing so, I pretty much ruined my left knee. Yep. So, one of those. So I went back to training 2 more times. I went back a couple of times to watch, because I used to go out flyering for Future Shock back then. On a Wednesday and a Tuesday, I'd go out flyering with them, which... because I wanted to show how committed to the cause I was. I wanted that commentary gig so fucking badly. I would have done anything Dave Ryan said for the best part of a year. If he clicked his fingers, I did it. I fucking went without stuff, so I had the money to put in my fucking fuel tank to get to Manchester so I can go and do stuff because I wanted that commentary gig. So, I was back at training as early as I could, and I did 2 sessions, and then my knee just couldn't take it at all. Just absolutely couldn't take it. So that made me stop in 2015, and I've never done it since.
You think you'll ever got that?
Well, there's another question. So let's add that one to your previous one. So I wanted to say that my appreciation for think about what we're talking about here. So I had an injury, and I went, fuck that. I've done enough of that. I could have rehabbed my knee properly and then gone back to training, carried on. Could be looking at the next fucking megastar. You could have found a way of... like, for example, you smoked at the time, didn't you? More than likely. You smoked as long as I've known you, so you must have been smoking cigarettes at the time.
Probably.
But let's say, for argument's sake, that you did smoke cigarettes. You could have chosen to, I'm going to quit smoking cigarettes and use the money to go to training. I will find a way of getting the money to go to training. Even if I have to sell everything I own, I want to go to training that badly that I'll fucking do it. We were both in a situation where we could have been the next superstars. There's an alternative reality out there where me and you are the fucking 2 greatest superstars in the world because we both went to wrestling training at the same time and we stuck it out. So, if nothing else, my appreciation for people who can make it just to have a 1 match, because shit like this happens to everyone. It's the people who want it the most keep going, don't they? Whereas most other people, I tried it, it was wank, or I tried it, I was crap at it, or tried it, it was just too damn hard. I tried it, I got injured, I didn't like it, I didn't go back. But it's the people who go back again and again and again and again and again and sacrifice everything. Potentially. You think about it in America, the amount of wrestling autobiographies me and you have both read, where you read the amount of travelling that they had to do because they wanted to go to this particular school. It's 5 hours drive away. I don't give a shit. I'm going to go every week. The dedication is unbelievable. And the thing is, there's no fucking guarantee at the end of it, is there? You're doing this on a hope.
I tell you what, I remember a lot of the stuff I was taught, and I remember that once you do training, once you've done your first session, your appreciation for the actual in-ring work that you watch and you love day in, day out, completely changes.
Unbelievable.
You're learning, you learn a lock-up and you learn, whatever, how to whip someone or how to bump and every little thing, every little detail that you take for granted as a fan when you're watching it. And you just think, and this is what we could go off on a tangent about this one.
I think we should go off on a tangent about it.
When people say the classic, wrestling's fake kind of thing. Yeah, but whenever I hear that, I just think, go in the ring and just try something simple and just see the effort that goes into making it work. To protect yourself, to protect the other person, make it look good as well. You never want to hurt anybody. You don't want to see anybody get hurt. But it takes so much dedication and so much effort that for people to point fingers at, not just us as fans for enjoying the product, but the actual performers themselves is just, I've always had a problem with that. Because it's just you don't do it if you can't do it. It's like you can say, someone who's written a song, oh, it's a shit song, I don't like that. Hello, they've still got the talent to do so. They still learn the craft how to do it. It's like anybody. Even you can even go off on anything. Say, someone who works as like a barrister or something. They still learn how to do it. They still learn all the ingredients, where they go, and how to do this at the right temperature. Blah blah blah. Everybody who learns something is either passionate about it or wants to do that for their their job or whatever. You can't bash people for that. No. Even if it's something that doesn't entertain you, it's still something that is their craft. They've put their effort, time, money, dedication into it. And I hate it when people, point fingers and make fun of people for doing something that they love and are good at. And wrestling training for me was just like, I can't stand people who say wrestling's fake. Now it was just after training. Beforehand, it was just like, yeah, all right, everyone says that anyway. But after trying it and doing it, it was just like, you ain't got a fucking clue.
I think you've pretty much taken the words out of my mouth there, because I was going to say something along the lines of, I think we as wrestling fans, we're so fucking smart and we know all the lingo and we know all the terminology and we think we know everything about the business, and you go to wrestling training and realise that you don't know a single fucking thing about the business.
Even shows. You go to a show, you will never be the smartest fan in a room at a wrestling show.
No.
Well,
I mean, I wouldn't anyway. I've said on this video, the moment I went through the doors at a wrestling show, I was 100% Mark.
Yeah.
I was 100%. Because that is I just love getting caught up in the atmosphere. That became something that you just don't get the same thing when you're watching it on TV. I mean, Jesus Christ, you've been to WrestleManias, you know what it's like to be in a massive crowd.
And to see people there with wearing, All Japan shirts from like the 80s or whatever it was, because they went to events there, and I'm thinking, jeez, man, like these people have carried it with them for that long, and everything's out there. It's just how deep do you want to dive? That's the thing. It's the same with anything. It's the same with music. It's the same with things like Marvel, DC, everything. It's a group of people who all are interested in the same thing, but of course there's going to be people who know more about it than you do. There's probably some stuff you do know that they don't.
Of course.
You choose how educated you want to be.
Well said. Answer me this: you didn't say. You asked me if there was any moves I was apprehensive about taking.
Yeah.
I said the chokeslam through the table, but you didn't say what yours were.
Right, so there's a couple for me. One was I was really nervous about doing the. It wasn't necessarily beforehand. It was in the match itself when we did the I Quit thing, and I'd hit you with the guitar, and I knew that you had got slightly cut because you told me under our breath you told me that you were cut, and of course I got to go pour apple juice into it, and I'm thinking this could be bad, just bad. And when you were selling it, I didn't know if you were screaming because it was actually painful or because you were just selling, and it's still that was not fun. The other one was the wall with Dave.
Oh God, yes, yeah. I wondered if you'd say that.
Yeah, the wall with Dave. No, we loved it. If it would been higher, it would have been great. but no, because we needed something big. Like, there was nothing else we could think of, and there was a wall, and we just like, yeah, let's do the wall. Because David had already gone off the wall. I was like, yeah, I could go off the wall. Didn't know there were bricks and stuff underneath the table we'd set up. That was a shock to the system. Excuse the pun. The other one was, funny enough, in the tables match with Dave, the final fall, where he's going to charge and I'm going to give him the overhead. And I was like, okay, if I get this wrong, it's going to break his neck. And when the table didn't break, I thought I'd broken his neck.
Oh, God, yeah. Fucking hell.
So, yeah, there was that one. But, I mean, I'm obviously going to say the iron bar that you had. When you were going to hit me in the back of the head.
Yeah, I can imagine the apprehension being there quite strong.
And rightfully so, after given what happened.
Yes, yeah. Can't deny that one. So the other question you asked was would you go back? I think you asked it.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that I've always wished for in my life is for me and you to have a proper match in a ring. And if it meant that we could have the end game is that, I don't know, even literally it's one of those, even if it was just a private thing that we filmed for our own entertainment, I would go to training so I could do something like that. I don't know. I was going to say I think it might be a bit too physical for me, but I mean, I'm fucking beast. I'm beastly nowadays, so I'm so passionate about fitness. As easily as I was back then, but I'm much stronger because I used to struggle to do moves on people because I wasn't strong enough.
You could be the next Simon Dean.
What? On the Simon system?
You're passionate about fitness. Just get yourself a purple get-up.
Yes, and I'd rock it, and I'd look great in it.
And you could have Barney the dinosaur entry.
Book it right now.
I think for me, if I had the opportunity to, I would. Not because I want anything to come of it. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed surprisingly taking bumps, but more than anything, it was just the education I got about certain moves, timing, pace. All of those things that you just don't necessarily understand until you do it. Going back to my point before about you can't make fun of someone unless you've been in that position yourself. It was the education I got mentally from it. Not necessarily physically, but mentally from being in a ring and learning from a pro and being with other people who are there for the same reason. That is what I loved about it, So I would, if the opportunity was there, I would.
Amazing. I love the stories. I don't know if Sticks ever told you anything like this, but Dave would tell us stories of people who turned up at the training school for their first ever session
with a list of
I can do these moves. This is my gimmick in wrestling gear. Got it all planned out. Knows exactly what he wants to do, and lasts about half an hour before he goes crying over to his fucking mother. Amazing. Yeah. I mean, that is fucking great.
Six told one that there was this guy apparently turned up to training and he had like a list of moves that he'd emailed over.
Yeah.
But the moves would they were the same name as if they were from a video game.
Oh, Christ.
So he had like Death Valley Driver Powerbomb combo.
Yes.
And he had like Tombstone Power Driver 3. It's just like, just things like that, and he just, that was what I remember him.
If you go to wrestling training and then you go back again, more power to you, because the amount of people think about the amount of people who've done it once and then gone, that's enough for me. If you go back, it takes balls to do it, doesn't it?
Oh yeah.
So it's one of those. I clearly remember my second training session at Future Shot going, yeah. And then once you've been there for like 10 weeks, like, this is the normal now. This is what I do with my time. I put everything I had into going to Future Shot. Like I say, I so wanted that fucking gig.
Yeah.
And I didn't do it. I didn't get it. So
first time I walked in and I just saw the ring and I was like, okay. And this wasn't actually with 6. This was the time previously.
Same way, yeah.
Gym. It was small. I think this was a 16 by 16, so it wasn't a big ring. And I remember the first thing that grabbed my attention, which I didn't realise before, was there was tape around the ropes.
Oh, yeah.
I never noticed that before. And then you look at how, and I don't know if this was the same, because at House of Pain shows, the students used to help like assemble the ring and deassemble the ring, and the wrestlers would do that as well. Yeah. So everybody sort of worked together. And I just remember the effort going into putting like a turnbuckle together with all the bolts and stuff, and you know the what's it called? What's the pad on the turnbuckle called?
Turnbuckle pads?
Yeah, it's turnbuckle pads. I swear there's a name for them, but like attaching them and things like that, and then putting the ropes in and everything. And yeah, it was just really eye-opening to see everything getting put together. Yep. You know, because if one thing's wrong, disaster.
Awful though, isn't it? Watching a ring being put together.
I hated it. It was, yeah.
So there's so many things. So
loading it into the back of a van, and
it was I don't know. I always we've talked before, smart fan, but there's something still that's I like the kayfabe element of not seeing a ring set up. I just like it being there. I remember what I was thinking is that led me down my thought process of I was one time when I was working at GPW, and I pretty much watched the entire show be rehearsed beforehand. And as a fan, it absolutely killed me. It was like, I can't. This is awful. I know they do this. I know pretty much every wrestling show that has ever been does what they're doing now. They're rehearsing bits. They're practicing moments. But watching it as a fan was just, oh God, please make it go away. Horrible, 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 horrible. So yeah, the same. I don't know why, but watching the ring being set up it's something I never liked. But I was such a mark going to the old wrestling shows that I used to go to. I used to stick around for an hour after the show had finished just because I wanted to chat to the wrestlers. For the first 2-3 years of going to wrestling shows, I did that every fucking time. Looking back on it, I just go, why did you do that? Weird.
Yeah, I've met a few of them who were quite nice. I remember Mark Haskins, he was really nice.
Yeah.
It's a hot wine. There was one time I went and saw you right there.
Oh, suit you. Haskins' wife.
Oh, you and that. Yeah.
Look on the fucking screen. Look at it. Look at that.
I thought you were going to put a picture of me and Mark Haskins up.
I don't have a picture of you and Haskins, do I?
Oh, do I? I'll send you one. I think the other one was the one that kind of bothered me was I went and saw Southside in Huntingdon, just down the road. You weren't at this show.
I was going to say, is that one that I came to?
No, you weren't at this one. And Michael Elgin was there. And I don't think he was in a very good mood. I went and chatted to him after the show and stuff, and so he had one T-shirt left, right? It was like 25 quid, and I had like 15 quid because I bought a few beers when I was there or whatever. I shook his hand, and he just said, "Do you want to buy my T-shirt?" And he's squeezing my hand, and I'm thinking, I'm literally thinking, I don't have 25. I'm going to die here. This is it. And it's like, nah, thanks. And he said, are you sure? I said, yeah. But nice to meet you. And he was just like, I was just, because he's a strong guy, But he's not. The thing is, with wrestlers, well, they're very friendly to their fans, like in that kind of environment. If you go and actually want to talk, Abyss is a great one. Mm-hmm. This was in Southside in St. Neots, and he was sat on the bench outside and went and said hello to him, just to meet him. One of the most humble people you can possibly imagine. Just so humble. Big guy sat there, just sort of shakes your hand, that's it. And you can literally talk to him like a human being. And I always enjoyed that aspect of it as well.
I did it for years. Years and years and years. PCW shows, Southside shows, Future Shock, GPW. The Dragon Gate shows we went to, I met the wrestlers on all of those. And then of course, when Fight Club Pro came along, motherfucking Christ. Adam Cole, coming to the pub, Mark? Yes, I am, Adam. What the fuck? Had that happened twice in my time. Once with Adam Cole, once with Spud. Both times, are you coming to the pub, Mark? My name to me, because I'm known by these fucking people. Like, the fuck's going on? He came to the pub. Yes, I am. Yes, and we went to go very pissed together, and it was great.
Yeah. Didn't Adam Cole drink like 20 bottles of Desperado or something?
Something daft like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, good time. That was at the Gifford in Wolverhampton. They were good times.
Yeah.
Those times are the times that I miss the most when I think about BritWres now. I
remember you and me wandering around some nightclub and bumping into like, what was his name? There were a few of them, but there was one that just stands out because you and me had. This was the night we had absinthe, and
nothing good from this story, man.
Oh, who was it? There was one guy we sort of bumped over, and then we just thought it was a guy because it was like a rock club, and it actually was. He was one of the guys. I wish I remembered his name. He was in AEW briefly.
So to just fill you in, boys and girls, the Gifford is a rock club in Wolverhampton. Downstairs plays classic rock, upstairs plays metal, and it is fabulous. It's tiny, not much space in there, which means that it's always heaving, absolutely rammed. But the music selection is particularly good, and the clientele are hot as fuck.
The bar's really good though.
The bar's really good, yeah. Good times.
But that I think that was the night that you were rapping the Bare Naked Ladies song and you got all the words wrong. Yeah,
I was hammered and I thought I knew all the words, so I was just like, look at me going. Yeah. And Dan has video footage, which you never know. If it's on your screen right now, he might have found for me. Because fuck it.
But it's so hard to find it. Yeah. But yeah, they're good times. But that's the thing, because they are, and this isn't, not meant in an offensive way. They are normal people. They are human beings who just, they do their job, and then, work hard, play hard, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes I get quite sad about it. It's like those are the days that I don't know. I miss them a lot. They were much more innocent times. Now that I don't go to wrestling shows at all, it's just one of those, damn, man, I used to be my whole life. I spent every penny I had went on wrestling. Every single penny. One year I went to more than 40 shows.
Yeah.
Yeah. One year I went to a show. I went to 5 shows in one weekend, for example. 5. Ridiculous. But it was good.
I think there's certain things that kind of I miss about it. Then there's certain things that I think, you know what, it's like a couple of weeks back when you were coming over and you called me the day before and said, do you want to go to the show tomorrow? And I was just like, no, I don't. I lost my interest in going to BritWres shows after the good wrestling experiences in MK, which are just I look forward to the hanging out aspect and then the after bit, and you go have a few drinks and get some food and whatever and chat, and that's it became more like, do we really have to go to the show sort of thing? And then when it's like, like you said, I've been to WrestleMania and stuff, and it's just like, no, this is great. I love doing this. This is great. But if the BritWres shows were good, you know they were good. You know. And I think the last time you really raved about them was when it was like you had Pentagon and Kenny Omega, all of that lot come down, and was it MK McKinnon who turned up and you called me and you were like, you'll never. Yeah, you never guess what happened. And it's just like, what? Like MK McKinnon. I was like, oh, okay, cool.
Whereas, I think MK was one of those ones where if you're outside of a very, very small bubble, you didn't really know who he was. But if you were in the bubble, he was so fucking great. And had to retire for injury, and then when he came back, for hell.
Yeah, we saw him versus Zack Sabre Jr. I remember that.
Yeah, that was a show. It was my whole fucking world. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you've enjoyed this talk about nothing. It wasn't scheduled to be this conversation at all, but I think it's been fucking brilliant. How about you?
Was this an episode? I thought we were just chatting.
What, for 53 minutes?
Oh shit, look at the time. Yeah, I honestly thought we were just chatting. I didn't actually know.
And that's why it's been fucking brilliant. I've loved this, mate. I've really, really enjoyed this.
I swear there was a different topic we had in mind for tonight, but we can do that.
Ladies and gentlemen, have you been to wrestling training? Answer me this down below. If you have, did you enjoy it? Did you not enjoy it? What did you like? What didn't you like? All that jazz. If you haven't, let us know down below. Why the fuck not? Literally, I'm intrigued. Don't always been too scared. Isn't a school. Not fit enough. the funds, blah 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 blah. Let us know. I genuinely would be interested to know what you thought, what you think about wrestling training. Social medias are all down there. Didn't even do a proper intro for this one because I couldn't be bothered. So yeah, social medias are all down there. What?
Do the intro for the outro.
Do the intro for the outro. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to these. These right here are this right here is another episode of Screwdriver with a Twist. I'm RP and he's Danny Ace, and tonight I want to talk about something that we've done a lot of between us. Can you guess? Of course you can guess. You can see what it says down there. Wrestling training. Bullshit. Crap.
It'll do. I did just want to share one story with you very quick.
Yes.
It's not actually about training, but when I thought we were going to do the episode, I was going to share this story with you at the start. So, just because I know this will make you laugh. So, I went to see a friend of mine this week who had, and it does get somewhere. I went to see a friend of mine this week whose father passed away, and he. You know, I was very upset about that. I wanted to go see him, and I went to Bedford, and I got the bus back, and I put my Spotify on. Now I always have my Spotify on shuffle, and for some reason, don't ask me why. Me and him were chatting a little bit about wrestling, and I went and put on I typed in WWE into the search bar on Spotify just to look at the old entrance music and stuff like that, just to see what would come up. So I'm feeling pretty shit and everything, and I put it on shuffle, and I press play. What's the first song that comes on?
I'm an ass man.
Close. Put a little up on it.
No way.
I literally thought to myself, I literally just started giggling because I thought, you know what? Sometimes even the simplest, stupidest stuff that doesn't mean anything to anyone. I just remembered you ranting about that in your No Way Out review or whatever it was. And I just thought, that's all I needed was the beginning. I looked at what it was and I was like, fuck's sake. So yeah, I had a good old laugh after that, and I just thought I'd share that with you because I know how much you love that whole album.
And I think for the people's benefit, I will spicy that moment of that video onto the end so people know what we're on about. So thank you so much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this. Sorry it's been so long since we've done another one. So I'm soon to do the last one, sorry. Hopefully it won't be too long until the next one. Take it easy, thanks for watching, and goodbye!
It's like you're going for a massive hug then.
Yes.
Put a Little Ass on It by Rikishi. Yep, say that title out loud with me, ladies and gentlemen. 3, 2, 1. Put a Little Ass on It. It's a romantic ballad with the chorus, put a little ass on it, ass on it. Fuck off. Fuck the fuck off. I'm not actually sure if this one's meant to be a joke or not. I can't tell. I just cannot tell. Champagne is desperate to regain the UBW champion. Oh my god, he's put the cheese grater on the testicles. Danny Ace, he's got the guitar. Oh my god, please don't do this. Oh, Champagne had the chance to quit. He wouldn't quit. So the cheese grater is smashed into Champagne's testicles by a guitar.